Hi everyone, I am lounging on the couch in my jammies. Well, they're loungewear. Because I had surgery a couple weeks ago. So my sinuses may sound a little funny because that's where I had surgery. I apologize. But we are now at chapter 5. President Al-Dalam was sitting comfortably on a very soft couch in his private parlor, munching on raisins and nuts and enjoying a satellite broadcast of a soccer game on his widescreen television, when the big ornate doors burst open and Dr. Cooper came in like an army invasion. "Mr. President," the American yelled. The president, very startled, was immediately on his feet, his eyes full of surprise and questions. His fat cheek full of raisins. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded. A very imposing guard stepped in behind Dr. Cooper and started to grab him, but Dr. Cooper plunged his elbow into the guard's stomach and was obviously prepared to further defend himself. "Let him be," the president ordered. The guard sheepishly left the room. "Doctor, this is most improper." "Mr. President, I don't have time for decorum. My children have been kidnapped." "What?" "We were keeping an appointment in the city, and someone grabbed them and carried them off. I need your assistance, your police, your militia." The president seemed very slow to see anything serious about any of this. "Kidnapped? Do you know the meaning of the word?" Dr. Cooper queried sarcastically. That irritated Al-Dalam. "Of course I know the meaning. Then I need your help. We've no time to lose." But the president only rolled his eyes in disgust and sank back down into his couch. "Kidnapped," he moaned impatiently. "Oh, those children. I knew they would be trouble. Doctor, I invited you to this country to open the mysterious door, and you only bring me trouble. Children who get themselves abducted." Dr. Cooper couldn't believe what he was hearing. He stepped around the big couch and faced the president. "Is that door all you ever think about? Where is your human heart, man? My children are in danger. I demand that you do something. I'll offer a reward." At that statement, there was a gruff snorting and snoring, and then this third question, "A reward?" Over in the corner of the room, Gozan's burly head appeared from behind the couch he'd been sleeping on. The mention of a reward had awakened him. Dr. Cooper meant what he said. "Yes, I'll offer a reward to whoever finds my children." "How much?" Gozan asked, his teeth glistening with a greedy smile. "You can name your price." The president jumped to his feet again, his anger rising. "My price is that you get the door open. That is why you were brought here." Dr. Cooper could not be stared down or intimidated, not even by this haughty potentate. "No more work proceeds on the door until my children are found safe." He narrowed his eyes and added, "Period." The president's gaze dropped, then slowly drifting over to where Gozan was sitting. "Gozan, find his children." Gozan rose from the couch with all the grace of a slug and said, "Certainly, certainly, for a price." "Your life, perhaps?" the president said coldly. It was amazing how Gozan could become so efficient so suddenly. He stepped forward very briskly and asked, "Where were the children last seen, good doctor?" "The Street of the Scorpion on the east side of the city." If Dr. Cooper had stabbed Gozan through the heart, he would have gotten the same reaction. "The Street of the Scorpions?" Gozan gasped. The president was also very disturbed. "What were you doing there?" Gozan drummed his fingers against each other as he said, "The shaman. It has to be the shaman." "That's right," said Dr. Cooper. The president's face was red with anger. "So he's come out of his hiding again, and this is his mischief?" Gozan explained. "Mr. President, he has appeared twice now at the dragon's throat. He tried to carry off young Lila before, but we chased him away, and then he blew up the explosives in a supply shed. The president sank into his couch again, but obviously he was not at all comfortable. The shaman has reappeared? What do you know about this shaman? Dr. Cooper wanted to know. He is a magician, said Gozan, a powerful wizard. He is a troublemaker, the president countered, a menace to this nation and to my plans. Upon the arrival of any expedition which intends to enter the dragon's throat, this elusive, scraggly little weasel comes out of hiding and makes himself out to be some kind of oracle, some kind of doomsayer. He has threatened me with his warnings, and not only me, but the entire country, trying to keep us from opening the door. And why haven't you arrested him? He lives on the street of the Scorpion, Gozan answered. Al Dallam added glumly, the street of the Scorpion is a deadly trap for any outsider, especially our militia. It would be like searching for a deadly lion in the lion's own lair. There are hundreds of secret passages, back alleys, doorways, hiding places, and escape routes that only the shaman knows. If we were to enter that maze, we would be playing right into his hands, and he could do whatever he wanted with us. Which is exactly what he's done with Jay and Lila, Dr. Cooper said. They are in grave danger, said Gozan. We must find them somehow. At that very moment, Jay and Lila were huddled on a floor against a wall in a very small, dark, musty bungalow, hidden deep within the intricate maze of winding streets, blind alleys, and obscure passageways. They were both looking up at what truly looked like a ghost, the dimly lit, ragged-robed, leathery-faced old man, the shaman of the desert. He stood there against the rough-hewn door trembling, the yellow light from a lone candle casting a slowly dancing shadow behind him. Jay spoke first, and angrily. All right, you've kidnapped us. You've thrown us in here, and I take it you're not going to let us go. Now what? The old man was blocking the door, but strangely enough, he looked at least as afraid of Jay and Lila as they were of him. With a low and trembling voice, he said, Please, do not harm me. I mean you no evil. Jay and Lila looked at each other quizzically. What kind of a kidnapper was this? The old man's eyes were full of fear, and he almost seemed to be cowering against the door. Do not call a curse down upon me, he begged, and may I find mercy in the eyes of your God. I must talk to you. Jay and Lila decided to play the game. So far, it looked like they were winning. All right, said Jay. What's on your mind? I have seen that the God you serve is strong. Indeed, strongest of all. I need your help. Not so fast, Lila insisted. Let's clear up the little matter of our supply shed and why you blew it up. I had to stop you. You must not open the door. Believe me, it does not contain any treasure, but only evil. Jay asked, How do you know that? In answer to Jay's question, the old man moved slowly to a shelf, moved aside a thick blanket, and picked up a strange black box. He brought it over to the table in the middle of the room and moved the candle closer. I, said the old man, am the keeper of the sacred chest. The sacred chest? Lila questioned as she and Jay came over to the table. The old man tilted the black chest toward them so they could have a better look at the lid. Well, will you look at that, exclaimed Jay. The inscription, Lila exclaimed. It's the very same inscription as the one on the door. Jay could make out the familiar symbols. The star that flew through heaven. The old man completed the sentence, pointing to the various symbols on the lid as he read them. Will bring the key, and all will be released. What is in this box? Asked Jay. What's in it? According to our ancient tradition, said the old man, it is the sacred chest of Shandago, the god of the earth. Jay asked again, and what's in it? The old man hesitated before answering, as if he were about to reveal a very dark and forbidden secret. According to the ancient traditions, Again he hesitated. It holds the one and only key to the forbidden door of Shandago. Jay and Lila looked at each other and read each other's face. They knew better than to betray any excitement, but this was a very, very intriguing discovery indeed. The door of Shandago? Jay asked. The door to the dragon's throat. And you have the key? Lila asked. According to the ancient traditions, the sacred chest holds the key. Don't you know for sure? Asked Jay. It is forbidden to open the sacred chest. You've never opened it? Only Shandago, the god of earth, can open the chest, and only at the proper time. Just what kind of religion are you anyway? Lila asked. The old man looked at them with tears in his eyes and explained. I was, a Chaldean sorcerer, a wizard. All my ancestors and family were Chaldeans and magicians, well versed in the ancient mystery religions of Babylon. For centuries we have worshipped the spirits of nature, the moon, the stars, and Shandago, the god of the earth. He looked down at the old black chest and ran his gnarled and leathery fingers over its surface as he said, and we have been the keepers of the sacred chest of Shandago. I received it from my father, who received it from his father, who received it from his father. From generation to generation, the keeping of the sacred chest has been passed down and entrusted to us. Jay asked, and are we to understand that you've never opened this thing? Not even once? It is forbidden for anyone to open it, the old man said, his eyes widening and glimmering in the candlelight. We are not even to speak of it. My father, his voice choked with a very deep-seated fear. My father tried to open the sacred chest, and he died a horrible death. He did not learn from the death of his father, who also died horribly after he tried to open it. We're talking about a curse, in other words, said Lila. A curse that remains unbroken, said the old man. His eyes grew intense as he leaned forward and asked, but your God is greater than any curse, yes? I have heard you speak such words, and you approached the door and lived. Well, he's certainly more than a match for this Shandago, said Jay. But how does this God of yours fit into this? Are you saying that the door was put there by your God of the earth? The old man pointed to the inscription again. He is the star that fell from heaven. Fell? I thought the word was flew. He is the star from heaven, the old man repeated. Then he lowered his voice and crouched low over the table to speak secrets to them. I have been hounded by the spirit of your God. Listen to me. Your God will not release me. He has followed me. He has spoken to my heart. He has opened my eyes, and now I see that Shandago is a liar. The old man gave a little gasp, and his eyes darted about the room, full of fear that perhaps the pagan god he served had heard his words of betrayal. He continued whispering to them desperately, this sacred chest and the door in the dragon's throat and the god of the earth, they are all unspeakably evil. Shandago has lied. He has fooled the people of Nippur into thinking the door contains a vast treasure, so they will try to open it. But it hides a terrible evil that he wishes to unleash upon the world. Please, I beg you, do not open the door. Abandon any thought of it. Will you excuse us a minute, Jay asked, pulling Lila aside. The two of them huddled in a corner of the room and had a quick conference. What do you think? Jay asked. I don't know about any of this. He's not making any sense. Well, he does make sense if you decipher what he's saying. Think of it, Lila. Nimrod was regarded as a deity by the ancient Babylonians, and they even believed that he became the sun and flew across the sky every day. Lila's eyes brightened. The star from heaven. Exactly. All this fear and superstition is part of the old mysterious religion, sure, but clear all that away, and what do you have? The key to that lousy door? and the treasure of Nimrod. So what do we do now? Start praying and follow it through. Okay. They broke their huddle and rejoined the old man at the table. Jay asked, "What can we do to help you?" The old man seemed relieved to hear Jay's offer. "The God you serve is greater than any other God, even the God of the earth. I do not own this chest. It owns me. Shandago rules my life and terrifies me with his curses. And now, since you have come and have brought your mighty God with you, I wonder—" The old man's eyes filled with tears and he began to shake. "I wonder if your God could not make a way of escape for me, to free me from the curse of the sacred chest and from Shandago. Your God may have power over the curse that binds me." Lila spoke gently. "His name is Jesus, and he does have power over this curse. He has power over any curse." That was wonderful news to the terrified, trembling shaman. "Then it is to this Jesus I must turn. Please, since you bear the name of Jesus, take the sacred chest, destroy it and the curse. You can set me free." Lila leaned forward and spoke from her heart. "It sounds to me like you just need to be freed from your sin." The old man nodded his head. "I have walked in darkness and fear all my life. My sins are like a chain about my heart." "Listen," said Jay, putting his hand on the old man's shoulder. "You've just been working for the wrong God. Let us tell you about Jesus." And they did. In that little bungalow, by the light of that one candle, Jay and Lila began to tell the old Chaldean sorcerer how to put aside his ancient occultic crafts and find true peace and forgiveness in Jesus. They had to put the gospel into pretty simple terms, but before long the old man began to understand that Jesus, the pure and holy Son of God, paid the price for sins with his own life, so every person could be free from sin, fear, and death, and could even be set free from any lying, evil gods that might be controlling his life. With trembling hands clasped in fervent prayer, the old man wept and cried out, "I renounce the God of the earth. I will no longer worship the sun, moon, and stars, nor the spirits of the dead. I now worship Jesus and his Holy Father, the only true God." Somehow, the room seemed to be suddenly a little brighter. The old man wept with joy as he looked heavenward, lifting his hands in joy and thanksgiving. Outside the small window, unseen by the rejoicing saints inside, a silent, stealthy figure lurked in the darkness, watching and listening. The old man drew a deep breath of air and smiled for the first time in years. "I have just been born," he proclaimed. "Born again is the term Jesus used," said Jay happily. The old man clapped his hands as he laughed. "Yes, yes, I have begun to live again. The curse, the evil, is gone from my life." Suddenly, as the thought returned to the ex-shaman, he grew very sober. "But the door is still there. It must not be opened." He grabbed the black box and shoved it into Jay's arms. "Here, please. You are strong in your faith. Take the chest and destroy it." "Okay," said Jay, "but first I'm going to open it." The old man's face paled with horror. "No, no. To open the chest is to die." "Our God is greater, remember?" "Yes, he is greater, but—" "Don't worry," said Lila. "The chest is harmless now." "I'll be careful," Jay assured him, but it's time this mysterious little box was opened. The old man backed away from the table in fear. He couldn't help it. But Jay took out his knife and began to carefully pry at the lid. The old dark wood was as hard as steel, and the lid was shut very tightly, like the door. It hadn't been opened in centuries. Jay stubbornly worked the sharp edge of the knife into the crack of the lid. Just then the light in the room seemed to go dim. Lila gasped, "What happened?" "Relax," said Jay. "A cloud must have passed in front of the moon or something." From the dark corner of the room came the voice of the cowering old man. Jesus, you will protect us, yes? He will. Jay thought he had perhaps gotten a little bit of a crack started in one corner of the chest. He worked from there, prying every few inches around the whole lid, ever widening the crack. Little bits of dirt and dust fell on to the table. Somewhere far off along the street of the Scorpion, a dog began to wail a long, mournful note. Lila was getting edgy. Jay, I think you'd better hurry. I don't want to damage this chest, he answered, as he kept working slowly and methodically. The crack grew wider under Jay's patient efforts, and eventually the lid began to raise from the chest. Just a little more now, said Jay. He could hear the nervous breathing of the old man in the dark corner. The room seemed so dark. How's it going, Jay? Lila asked, and now she was standing away from the table, watching from a distance. It's almost off, he answered. He pried some more with the blade, and the lid loosened. Then, moving upward easily, it came up a little more and a little more. Then it came off. The room filled with an old, musty smell, as if a tomb had just been opened. Fine gray dust fell in little puffs from the lid as Jay set it down on the table. The chest seemed to be filled with it. Jay took a spoon and probed the gray surface. He found a piece of cloth, now totally decayed and crumbling, and moved it aside. It crumbled into powder. He carefully removed that powder and the fine little shreds that were left. Lila came up to the table for a closer look and had to sneeze some of the gray dust out of her nose. Finally, the old man also stepped very timidly up to the table, and the three of them peered down into the chest. Jay took the spoon and began to carefully scoop out the gray dust and the rotted shreds of cloth wrapping. After just a few scoops, the spoon clunked against something metal. Oh, said Jay. He reached in very gently, took hold of whatever it was, and lifted it slowly up and out. The dust fell away from the object in little lumps. The smell was musty and horrible. Bingo, I think, said Lila. I am seeing it, said the old man. I am seeing it with my own eyes. Jay blew the dust away and wiped the object with an old rag. The more he wiped it, the shinier it got, until they could see that it was made of beautiful, glimmering, bronze-like metal. Lila observed, It's the same metal the door is made of. Will you look at that, said Jay, holding it up, turning it this way and that, trying to figure it out. The metal object looked like some strange alien garden tool with a handle at one end, a long narrow shaft, and then a strange claw-like cluster of fingers at the other end. Jay thought he'd figured it out. Remember the shape of that keyhole in the door? You hold this end, and then this end here, with all these fingers on it, goes into that lock, and there you are. The key to the door of Shandago, exclaimed the old man. Or Nimrod, added Jay. Suddenly a cold wind caressed their necks, making the hair on their necks bristle. Outside, more dogs were mourning and howling. Their moans and cries filtered down through the narrow streets and alleys. I am afraid, said the old man. Jay didn't hear his comment. He was too interested in his theory about the key. Sure, it makes sense. The ancient Chaldeans got their mystery religion and beliefs from Babylon, from Nimrod. Obviously, when Nimrod passed down his religion to the Chaldeans, he also entrusted them with a key to his treasure. The keeping of the key became part of their religion. There is more, said the old man, his eyes wide with fear as he looked around the room and out the windows. I can feel it. Evil is at work tonight. The cold wind raced in through the window again and chilled them with icy fingers of air. The candle flickered. Lila, see if you can close the shutter there. Lila took only a few steps toward the window and then screamed. What? Cried Jay, racing to her side. There was someone out there, she gasped. The old man was immediately there too, looking out the window. I see no one, he said. I saw someone, Lila insisted. Someone in a wide-brimmed hat. He was right at the window. The three of them peered up and down the narrow street, but saw no one. Well, he's gone now, said Jay. They turned back inside. The old man gasped. He fell backwards against the wall, his hand over his heart, his eyes filled with terror. Jay and Lila looked in the direction of the terrified gaze. The heavy door stood open as the cold night wind entered and raced about the room, raising the hairs on their arms and teasing the candle flame. The table in the middle of the room still had the old open chest upon it, but the key to the door, was gone. See you next week.